Coming up on today's episode of The Traction Show.
If I now talk to the audience and say that, hey, you know how retention works, everyone will get bored. But if I tell them how cool is credit ad, I have everyone's attention at this point in time. That's what even happens with teams, by the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's explore conversations with the best growth and product minds behind your favorite companies. Welcome to The Traction Show. And here's your host, Abhinav Arora. Abhinav, the stage is yours.
Howdy, good folks. Welcome to yet another episode of The Traction Show. Today, I have with me Abhishek Patil. This guy was one of the very few guys who were, leading growth in the startup and, digital industry. He's worked with very shiny companies, Dunzo, Cred, and now, for the love of his field, he's started GrowthX. Abhishek, you want to tell us more about yourself and GrowthX and say hi to the audience?
Hey, hi everyone. Super excited to do this. Thank you so much, Abhinav, for inviting over. Yeah, I've been just a growth person, just trying to solve interesting growth problems, statements in the last few years that took me to some interesting founders and interesting companies across Cred, Dunzo. I also worked with interesting founders before that at Socrati, which is now took over by Merkle for some quite bit of money. Yeah, I think Bangalore gave a lot of opportunities to work with really smart people and really vibe and solve problem statements. And that led me to now start GrowthX, where we are trying to do something interesting with communities, founders, product managers, product leaders, growth function.
Super interesting. So, sabse pehle, when I got introduced to growth, and I think the trajectory for everyone is very similar. You're not interested in college. You're like, boss, kuch na kuch figure out karna hai. And for me, that point was one fine day. I mean, I always used to ogle at this button under an image on Facebook page that said boost post. I never had it in me to, press it because I never had the money. But the moment I had some money, I was like, shit, this boost post. And then, then it opens up the avenues to Facebook Ads Manager. And I was like, okay, you can reach wheresoever. So that's how my journey in growth sort of began. There was this term that I used to fancy at at one point of time called growth hacking. And, the growth hackers were the coolest people. And there are LinkedIn, then I saw, LinkedIn bios being updated to growth hacking expert, growth hacker at so-and-so company. You're a growth hacker too?
Interesting question. I think there's nothing called growth hacking, to be very honest, right?
Oh, shit.
I think it's the most abused keyword out there, right? It's like Wall Street saying derivative markets are very, very complex. You shouldn't get into this business. Give it to us. We'll handle it, right? That's what is happening with the talent and the founder market in tech ecosystem. Every founder is being told that you need to hire a growth hacker. You need to hire some FADU person who will literally go out of his or her way to
change the game for you.
Like they join and next week you see like rocket graphs, right? Like that doesn't happen.
Okay.
First of all, there's nothing called a growth hacker. It's not a one-person job. Absolutely. It's a big team which will have people from who build products, who distribute products, which are marketers, people who look at data, people from analytics, people who are designing products, right? That's a big team. So there's nothing called growth hacking. There's something called growth function, which will have a lot of interesting set of people who will be devoted to solve a single North Star metric.
The way you define it, it sounds like a process. What internet believes about growth hacking is, अपना Google Ads optimize कर दो and Facebook पे manual bidding लगा दो, थोड़ा सा ये कर दो, थोड़ा सा वो कर दो, and things will just like rocket. So that's not how it functions. In fact, it's not so much about Google Ads, Facebook Ads, SEO. It's not about that, is it?
I think what people see is what they think it is. If I now talk to the audience and say that, hey, you know how retention works, everyone will get bored. But if I tell them how cool is credit ad, I have everyone's attention at this point in time. That's what even happens with teams, by the way. Because we feel that paid ads are sexier and ads and Facebook and Google.
Because you can make passive income with ads.
You can make drop shipping with it, right? All of that is sexy, right? If I tell you, Abhinav, next 6 months, you're solving a retention problem where you're going to have 1% improvement in the next 6 months. Will you even look at me?
Dead roll hai yaar ye to.
Right? This is a dead roll, right? See, that's the point. So all the hacking, everything is on typically on ads, because you can learn that tool in a week. And a lot of people will hate me for this when I say this, but most tools can be learned in a week.
The most popular case studies that we see out there about, growth hacking or growth in general is about growing an e-commerce store. But you've worked on growth for different kind of businesses, different line of businesses.
Sure.
How does a Dunzo grow, or how does a Cred grow, or how does a Zepto grow? Can you walk me through those mechanics?
There's a product that needs to be sold and something has to buy it.
Right.
That means two important things need to happen.
Fantastic.
Somebody has to create a platform that will allow somebody to buy the product and experience the product, right? And somebody needs to figure out who to sell to. That's marketing, right? So when these products grow, the first important thing that they do is they go out and understand who is the customer and what is their use case. If you think about you're buying Zara, right? Now, if I am Zara, I first need to understand which kind of salary levels do you have. I need to make sure you have the appetite to pay, right? Second, I need to figure out the right marketing to tell Abhinav that you are going to look sexier on the podcast when I sell you this t-shirt. Third is, how do I get Abhinav to buy again and again from me? That means I need to have that shirt's quality or even the buying experience absolutely amazing. And at the end, the important question I'll ask is, how do I get Abhinav to refer Abhishek to buy Zara now? Right? And I think that's the holy grail of growing any product. Leave aside tech products, because we have this joke at GrowthX, which is, what is growth really? And the fundamental part of growth can even be applied to like a chai wala shop, right? Like a corner chai wala shop. And he or she can also use the same framework to get more customers who will buy cigarettes, who will keep coming back for the same chai, and increases like average ticket size, as we call it. And we make it all jargonish, right? But I think it's fundamentally the conventional businesses, and we have learned from them, and we're just using sexy words to talk about all of this.
The thing with Dunzo and all these e-commerce stores is there is some sort of product market fit on day one. Something that happens with apps and social kind of businesses, consumer social, and apps where it's not really about simple dynamics that you buy something from us, we'll get it delivered to you. How do you grow such kind of apps? Does the growth function exist pre-product market fit? If yes, what really happens? Because you don't really know who you're going after.
Let's take a step back. We'll chuck growth for now. Right? Think about what's the job to be done. There are 3 core signals you look at. Are your user like literally fighting with you to get the experience? Is there an insane demand? Let's say you launch a social platform and nobody wants to get on it, then something is wrong. Second is, do people have an insane frequency with the product? Let's do this, right? Let's do coffee with Karan with Abhinav. Okay. What's the product that you use daily? Zepto. What do you use weekly?
It's a very good question, dude. Kite.
Okay, Zero the Kite. Okay, awesome. What do you use once in a month at least?
Goibibo.
Okay, brilliant. What do you use every 6 months?
Fuck, dude. I think once in 6 months would be Chroma.
The point I'm trying to make is not to quiz you. The point I'm trying to make is, it took you half second to tell me something daily, and it took you ever to tell me something 6 months or 1 year. And that's the point I'm making. What I'm trying to say is something has to be very high frequency for people to even remember it. And that's when I say people should have insane frequency with it. The minimum is weekly or monthly. The minimum. Anything which is above monthly will be very hard to sell again and again. And the third is, let's say you are building out a social platform and your business model is ad monetization. Now, are advertisers ready to pay for these customers? Have you done that dipstick? Right? And do you have some signals there that, okay, they are ready to pay maybe 200 rupees per impression, or 200 rupees per 1,000 impressions, or 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees, whatever that number is, right? Have you done the willingness to pay test?
So Abhishek, this growth role, which is, popping up a lot on job boards, how much does it pay? And how big is the market? Like, how many people can pursue their careers here?
India has around 75,000 startups, right? Growing at 15%. I don't know what will happen after this whole funding storm, but let's assume that we reach 100,000 in next 3 years. You're looking at 8 to 10 people growth teams across on an average startup. This will vary between 4 people size teams to 50. That's like 1 million opportunities right now. Just in India. I'm not even counting bigger companies in this. I'm counting very 0 to 1 to 10 companies here. How well it pays. And I think that's the most interesting question for everyone, right? It can go from 3 lakh rupees a year to 2 to 3 crore rupees a year, period. So the range is as big as you can get. And all these startups are not going to hire by shiny degrees. Now that the whole market is correcting, you will see more and more people asking, how can you solve a problem for us? And then talking about salaries, right?
Companies, man, there's a team called engineering, full of engineers.
Sure.
You know, they build the product. And there is a team of designers who design the product, team of sales people who sell the product. There's also a growth team.
Yes.
Is that a team full of marketers, or marketer is one part of that team?
Growth teams are typically 4 kinds of people. Of course, you can have
Okay.
more, but there are 4 non-negotiables. People who have absolute clarity on product, who can build product, navigate product. Second is people who can market products, because you would need marketers across each stage of the user journey. You will need people to market the product. You'll also need people to market the product to the existing customers, just to make a repeat sale, right? You will also need a lot of interesting analytics people, right? To just make sense of all the data that's being thrown around and like literally figure out what to work next on, right? You'll also have user experience and user interaction designers who are typically creating different assets across the product, who are changing assets, replacing, improving those assets, so that your conversion ratios, as we call it, right? Suppose 100 people start using the product, how many people keep using that product over a large period of time? Or how many people even try the product, like the first action, right? All of that will start coming in, right? So these are like the 3 or 4 major folks that you will need. If you're a very early stage founder, right? Or if you're a very small team, like a 10 people team, most of the time, one of the co-founder is gonna be the growth lead for you. And that person may have a product background or a marketing background, as simple as that.
Fun conversation, man. I personally wanted to have this topic again and again on the show, because apart from what you guys are doing at GrowthX, there's no one who does it in a legit way. I don't question the profession, but there should be legit educators who've been there, done that. So kudos to you for doing that. And thank you for coming here. Do you have any closing thoughts for the audience?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sitting down and having this conversation. I think there are a bunch of interesting people who have come on the Traction show. You should definitely go watch them. And I think there are a bunch of people who I've worked with. And they are investors in GrowthX. So you should definitely go and watch them, and you'll find a lot of value that you can take back and maybe shift your careers. Who knows?
Awesome. Thanks a lot. This was fantastic.